Okay, we're going to start building our wood project in Dynamo by creating our lines that are necessary to define where we want to put our adaptive points. And if I go out, I have Dynamo open for the final project, and I've actually just turned things off so it looks a little bit simpler. But I've created a NURBS by point just to connect everything together. And it'll kind of give you a little visualization here of these are now, I've turned the NURBS lines on. You can see these curves. That will be where we will attach our adaptive component. So our project to start with is define this top and bottom line. And then the next segment will be to define this NURBS curve. So let's get started. We can leave this file open. And if you're just starting, you would start with a new file and then activate Dynamo. But what I'll do is just load up a new document which will have the same effect, and it's just a home workspace, and I won't worry about saving that file. And the idea is we're going to just look at creating our first line at a base point, which will be, it'll start at 0, 0 and move backwards away from this. So this will be our insertion point, or a control, an idea for an insertion point in our document. So we're going to first of all make a point, and that's a point by coordinate. The minute I drop this down on the sheet, we get a 0, 0 point. And we really want to make that line going back the wall length. So I'm going to make a number slider right away. Oops. And we'll make that go from 1 to, I don't know, 80 wall length. We'll make it go increments of 1, which I believe translates right into Revit as a foot. And we'll move that in a direction and see where it goes. And it looks like that moved, and I'll move this up so we can see it better. All right, so we're moving in that direction. We also need the 0 point again, so I'm going to just copy this. I should have just done that before. And I'm going to disconnect the X so that we get that 0 point and the back point. Now let's call this number slider right away. I think naming is really important, especially when we go back, and the idea that if we export this for other people to use it, they need to know what these functions do. So this will be wall length, or let's call it structure length. A better term for that. So now that'll be our universal idea of how long we make our structure. And now we need a line. We're going to take those 2 points and make a line. And up comes line by start point and end point. Well, our start point will be our 0 point, our end point, but the other one, and now we have a line, and we can control the length of that line by sliding the slider along. So now we have the base of our adaptive element. Now we want to have that wall height, the concept of where the top of our wall would be. So let's go ahead and duplicate this. Oops. And let's call this structure height. So I'm going to rename this right away. And I don't think we want to be quite as large as 80 feet tall. So let's just keep it in proportion. So it'd be 1 to 2 kind of thing. And so now we can control that another line series. So let's grab this line series and copy it and paste it. And I'll zoom out and I'll move this. Oops. I don't know what I just did. I'll move this up. And now we have the same line on top of, there are 2 lines, one over the other one. And so what we really want to do is we want to offset them. And I believe we want to offset them in the Z direction, which is, so you'll notice that that back line goes first. I just put that into the end point. And I'll do the same thing with this. And so now we have, let me turn off the definition. And you can see we have 2 parallel lines. Oops, trying to rotate here. All right, so we have our 2 parallel lines. Eventually we're going to segment these into points so we can attach an adaptive component to it. So I'll break that video here, and the next element we'll make will be the NURBS surface.